I'm Alex Del Soro. I'm Alex Del Soro, and we have just Eddie. It's Kevin Sauer. Nita DeFrance, Eric Marie. It's Mahe Drysdale. It is Sir Matthew Hinson. Thank you for being here. I'm Alex Del Soro, Grower's Choice, and this is another podcast, and I'm doing multiple a week. I just did one the other day, and I did it with someone I knew. Now I'm doing it with someone I don't know. Now there's a lot of connections that we have. One of which is that we're from the same area, okay? We're from the same part of the country, South Jersey, this little area between Oak Crest and mainland. We were once rivals. This is gonna be a great conversation. I'm with Asiya Mahmud, okay? Now she is the associate head coach of Drexel Rowing, and we're gonna hear everything from the time she took her first stroke in South Jersey to the time she got her job in Philadelphia. Asiya, thank you for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm really excited about this.
I am thrilled, actually, because there's a lot to your story that I really want to get into. But I do the same thing every single week, every single time. Where were you? How old were you when you took that first rowing stroke?
Sure. I was definitely on Lake Lenape in Mays Landing, New Jersey. And I got into rowing because my older sister, who's 2 years older than me, was on the team. So I was getting dragged to the Schuylkill when I was in 7th grade. And she admittedly doesn't like sports, but thought like, oh, gotta have something on the resume before I start applying to colleges. And then she actually got a medal at Stoughton. I don't know what category she was in, but she medaled at Stoughton. And I was like, wait a second, she doesn't even like sports.
Wait a minute. Hold on. This was what, 2008 or 9?
This must have been probably, must have been 08.
When did you graduate?
I graduated high school in 08. So maybe this was 06.
2006?
Yeah, maybe 06.
So I think it was the women's Coxed 4 in 2006, because they were never in contention for the 8s. So if it was Oak Crest in 06, I'm pretty sure it was the 4 that she.
I'll double check you, but I think she was in an 8. It wasn't one of the top 8s, but I think she was in an 8.
Okay. It could have been like a second 8. All right, I love it. So you're 7 years old. You're running around, following your parents, following your sister, and then you decide that, hey, you know what? I just want to start rowing.
Yeah, I'm in middle school, and I'm just like, okay, well, maybe I'll join and row with her. Like, that'll be a great experience. I'd love to. She was my idol, so but once I got to high school, she quit. She figured it out. She's like, okay, I've got this figured out. She had all of her applications in for college. She was good to go. So I was.
Where did she go to college?
She went to Boston University.
That's a great school. School.
Yeah.
Now your sister gets a medal. Did you get a medal? Did you win anything at Oak Crest when you were rowing there?
I think I got a bronze medal in the JV8 my sophomore year at nationals.
Who was your coach back then?
Dan Welsh, who's at HT.
Yeah, of course. Dan Welsh is extremely well known in the South Jersey area. So I graduated in 04 from mainland. So there's no overlap between the two of us. Right. But like South Jersey has been on a slow decline in competitive rowing, right? Like teams are cut down in half. Yeah. So you said the only reason that you went into it was your sister, and she just wanted to do it because she wanted to get something on her resume. Was that standard at Oak Crest? Was that kind of like a standard thing happening at the time?
I mean, I think that they were just starting the rowing program when she went to high school. So I think it was just an opportunity to, build yourself. The classes weren't terribly big. Like, I think my graduating class was maybe 350.
Sure.
And so like, it was really easy to be involved, whether it was student council or sports, but sports were the predominating, culture to try to be part of at school. So having failed miserably at a lot of other sports, I picked up rowing, and I thought I was okay at it. So I stuck with it.
Did you go to college to row? Did you continue that movement?
Yeah, I did. At that point, the Coach Welsh had transitioned, and Vince Serra who's now the mayor of Brigantine, so still small South Jersey. He was my coach my junior and senior year. And I think that it was really his passion about the sport that pushed me to even think that I could row in college. I just felt like I wasn't at the same caliber as those women who were like in the varsity 8 my junior year. I think they got like second at nationals, which was really cool. And so I was like, wow, I really wanted to be obviously part of that, but part of furthering my experience. I just really loved it so much. And he knew Paul Savell, and that's how the connection was for me to end up talking to Drexel in high school.
And what's nice about Drexel in South Jersey is that it's just far enough away from parents, but it's like a familiarity, right? Like, the river, the culture, the people. By the way, my producer in my ear has confirmed your sister was in the girls junior 8 at Oak Crest in 06.
Okay.
But Stotesbury doesn't go that far back on getting results. So we will eventually figure this one out. So you go to Drexel, you decide that you want to row for Drexel and you head up there. Was that a, I guess, how do I say this? Were your parents like really excited for you for that? Or were they pushing you to do something like Boston or somewhere further away, or maybe an Ivy League or something?
Yeah, they weren't pushing one way or another. If anything, I think they were like pushing majors. My sister was an engineer. So I had some big shoes to fill after she got, a really great setup at BU. But I actually decided in April of my senior year. So I think at that point they were kind of stressed out. I just wanted, I was nervous that it was too close, but I knew it was kind of far, just enough away from my parents. And I still wanted to be able to grow and develop, not knowing too much about the landscape of collegiate rowing, but knowing I wanted to make an impact. And actually one of the seniors from my high school team when I was a freshman went to Drexel. And I think that kind of had a big impact too. I really looked up to her, and that was a helpful piece.
So you're there. I mean, you're there now, which is, I love the connection. But that first year, was it a struggle going from a high school team to then be, I mean, Drexel is a nationally competitive program. The volume is a lot harder. It's different. Was there any difficulty in that transition from high school to college?
Absolutely. Our first practice, Lake Lenape is only about 1,500 meters, right? So I'd only ever done so much during a practice. And our first practice, we did a 6-mile run test. And so like we go from the boathouse to St. Joe's. I'm like, I'm going to quit. Like this, I cannot do this. But a run back, and then we get in boats. And I think I was in a 4 and I rowed a 4. I started rowing in 4s. So I have a love for the 4. And we got to the top of the river. We came back down. And then Paul said, spin it. And I was like, what? Not realizing just like how much more volume we were going to get in. So it was definitely a shock, but something that I was excited about kind of building on and just wanted to get better. That group who was above us, the team was pretty small at that point. I want to say less than 20 when I got here. So it was really cool to kind of feel, enculturated from a freshman year, and really kind of bought into where the seniors wanted the team to go, even though it wasn't there yet.
So how much did you find any success at Drexel rowing, like competing in big races?
I guess my highlights would be winning the Dad Vale the second 8 my senior year. That was one of that. The freshman 8 and the second 8 won that year, and that was the first gold medal at Dad Vale's. And then getting second at CAA's my senior year.
So Dad Vale's, you and I share that commonality. We both have a medal from there. That I medaled freshman 8 in 2005 at Marietta, and I wish the Dad Vale was the same. It's not the same. Back then, when you and I were racing there, the crowds were insane. I mean, can you think back to that moment of crossing that finish line and feeling that energy? I mean, walk me through that race. I want to know what happened.
All right. Well, we were a really close boat, and one of my best friends who I lived with, I wake up the morning like of the final, and we were thinking like we were going to get in the final, and so I wake up and was like, I had this dream that like we were out on everybody. Like we just like tried to go. And I don't know, like I just remember like in my dream looking back and seeing bow balls at the bridge. And so like we kind of laugh about it and then head down to the boathouse. And it just was so much more chaotic than that day. We had to share bow numbers. So the freshman 8 was like on the medals dock and we didn't have bow numbers to head up to the start. And so we grabbed the bow numbers off the freshman 8 when they get their medals, and like all the way up to the starting line, I'm sitting in 2C, like I'm trying to pin the bow number on the back of the bow seat as we're like in the starting blocks, and we're in lane 6. And we're like, okay, literally as soon as I pinned it on, like the officials were like, attention row. And so we're just like, just go for it. We're in lane 6. It can't get much worse than this, and sure enough, just like a dream, we get through Strawberry Mansion and we're a length open on everybody.
Wow.
And I'm just like, it was crazy.
That is, oh my God, is there not a better feeling coming through that bridge being a length up? I mean,
yeah, it was incredible. And then I guess our coxswain like called us at a 40. I was like, oh well, no wonder. We're gonna run out of gas. So we went from lengths open on the field to winning by a bow ball.
Oh my gosh. I mean, like, I don't know. What would you rather do? Would you rather win coming back on somebody or win by like, oh my God, I'm going to lose. Like, which would you rather have? Like,
I'd always rather be up. I'd rather be up.
So were your parents, was your sister in the crowd watching you get gold medal for Drexel?
So here's the thing. They were there. They weren't at the grandstands. So I don't know. I think they were like at the tent, so that's like 250 meters away. So we pull up to the tent, like the grandstands, and like I'm looking for my family, and like my best friend who went to Nova Southeastern, her mom's there and she's crying because she sees me getting out of the boat. And then like eventually they meet me back at the boathouse, but it was kind of funny. They missed the finish. They just figured we won because we were up at 250.
Oh, you're up at 250. I love parents. That's happened to me so many times too. Like parents don't know where to be, right? They like, who cares? Like, oh, she's fine. And it's like grand final. Be at the finish line.
Yeah.
So, okay, you get this gold medal. Was the gold medal at Dad Vale's a launching point for your coaching career? Did that like be like, ooh, I want to keep doing this? Or like, at what point did you decide, hey, I want to make this my profession?
Well, the gold medal kind of left me hungry. It went from like our freshman year, not even just trying to make it to day 2, to being in a grand final and actually medaling. That was full circle, and so graduating, and I graduated in 4 years. Drexel has a lot of 5-year programs. So a lot of my friends were still in school. And I just felt kind of empty graduating in 4 years, and everybody else got to keep going. And I hadn't exactly sorted out my life just yet. I had an opportunity to follow up from one of my co-ops that I had while at Drexel to work at a law firm. But I was feeling not fully passionate about getting into the workforce yet. So I was going to study to go to law school. I was working on the LSAT, and that's when I moved back home, and Oak Crest needed some help. My former teammate who was on the men's team was actually the head coach at that point. He's like, hey, could you help out like a few days a week? And I'm like, okay, I can help like once or twice. And then once or twice turned into, oh, okay, I can come every day. And every day turned into, oh, okay, I'll be there on race days too. And so I just loved being around them. Like junior rowing is my absolute favorite. I love being around them like a sponge, but also seeing that there hadn't quite been that jump in terms of information and knowledge about the recruiting process. Like I felt like there was such a distinct disadvantage compared to what they had. Like they had more internet access, they could communicate with coaches more often. They didn't have to wait for snail mail, and they were still kind of lost about the process. And I said, okay, well, how can I be an asset to this group? And I wanted to share the knowledge that I had from my experience and make sure that they could get recruited.
We found that so much. I go back when I was in high school, like 2004. I had just got my first cell phone, and it was like the Nokia like little thing, and I had no idea. I mean, if it wasn't for my father remotely knowing John Dan Carey from Marietta,
Yeah.
I would not have gone to college. Like I would have done something else. And I was a lifeguard in South Jersey. And these are places that you and I both know, we grew up with. And it was like this South Jersey environment. You just wanted to get by. And if you had the job of lifeguard and a firefighter, or a lifeguard and a teacher, you were made forever, right? Like
Yeah.
you were never leaving. In this recruiting process, I like that you realized that it was absent from the school. Like there were so many other places kids could go besides Drexel or besides Stockton or some of the local places.
Mm-hmm.
So you're coaching Oak Crest, you're studying for your LSATs. What happens next?
So that was my first year, and then the second year that head coach left, and I was like, oh, I'm invested in these young women now. I'll take over until they can figure it out. So then I became the head coach my second year, and just really found some success with that varsity, and then just the team as a whole. I think at one point I was coaching everybody by myself, and then two of my friends were able to help out who were also alums. So it was just great to be able to pull them back in, show that, people cared about the program, people cared about their success. And I think I got like Atlantic County Coach of the Year, which like shocked me. It was like, I didn't even know that was a thing. Like I didn't know anyone knew my name.
What was this, 2014?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So Ian Tapp is one of my best friends, and he was the coach of Ocean City Women for many, many years. And I think it was like back in that era that he was coaching, because he had left in 2019, I think. Does that name ring a bell to you?
It does. It's familiar. If not me reaching out, then competing
Yeah.
again.
No, I mean, yeah, Ian Tapp was the coach of Ocean City. So, wow, 2014. Atlantic County Coach of the that's a big deal, by the way, for people that are not from our area. Like, it's a big deal.
Yeah. I just wanted to like keep my head down, like if I could ask people like things, then I would, like Ray D'Amico was so cool, and everybody at the prep, like they were like so kind to me and like my development. In addition to everyone who was at Oak Crest and everything else, like I just felt so supported in that environment.
Sure.
It was just a really cool experience.
Now, would you ever lean on Dan Welsh or some of the other coaches like in your past for questions or support when you were the head coach of Oak Crest?
I don't know if I ever reached out to Coach Wells, but I always knew I could,
Yeah.
I never felt like they didn't want to see me succeed. I think that, and even now when I call him, he's like, it's like I'm the star. I'm like, no, you don't realize like the impact you had on my growth. It's just really cool to still be able to have relationships with those people.
That's a beautiful thing. I mean, I so many of these older generation coaches are like, they put the spotlight on you because you are the success. You are the associate head coach of a college program. Like you took everything that he taught you and you're going someplace with it. I love that. Now, what happens after Oak Crest? Like what happens in this 6-7 year period from 2014 to now?
Yeah, so they had a great season, and then that's when I started getting ideas in my head. I was like, okay, if I can be, Atlantic County Coach of the Year, like how much of a bigger impact can I have on young women's lives other than just Oak Crest, And that's when I started thinking about opportunities to be able to recruit and opportunities to move to that collegiate level. So I just started applying to anything and everything I could, and ended up at Bucknell that following year.
So Bucknell 2015.
Yeah.
And what was that experience like?
So actually, I think I got there like mid-year, like it was like November. And so it felt kind of weird, they had already been started. And I was just like, again, trying to be a sponge. Like I've always just always tried to make myself feel like, I belonged in the room. Like, even though I didn't feel like I knew half the things that Steve knew, I was like, okay, I'm just going to learn everything I can while I'm here. And he actually let me coach the second 8 when I got there. And I was like, wait, what? it was just a lot of awesome opportunities that have just been thrown at me, and feeling like I am always ready to receive an opportunity, to make the most of it. So coach the second 8, they ended up getting second at Dad Bill's, second in their conference that year. That was really cool. And
what do you like better? Do you like crossing the finish line or watching your boat cross the finish line for that medal? Which one, what do you feel, what's more impactful for you?
I think it's gratifying to see the athletes cross the finish line. Like I know what that feels like, and I so deeply want that feeling for them, to feel your hard work pay off, and to feel like a star.
What feeling, what's a better feeling? I mean,
Yeah.
feeling like a superstar.
Yeah.
How long are you in Bucknell for?
It was just for that 1 year, and I think one of the Drexel coaches was transitioning out, and we had some overlap racing Drexel that year, and I think Paul made the call. Was like, "Hey, you want to come back?" So it was kind of a no-brainer.
Why was it a no-brainer? Just because you love Drexel so much?
I love the city of Philadelphia so much. Obviously, I love Drexel so much, but after I graduated, that's when the conferences became AQs for NCAAs. And I remember thinking like, oh man, like if I could have won a CAA championship when I was an athlete, that would have meant the world to me. I would love to go back and help these women win a CAA championship.
So 2016, you go right, 2016, 2017, you go right to Drexel.
Yeah, I think it must have been the 15-16 school year.
15-16 school year. Yeah. Okay. So you get settled, you go back to your roots, right? You're feeling good. Now I did read your bio that you ended up going back to school to get a law degree. Is that correct?
Yeah, so here's the thing, like that was in the last 2 years, I guess. I can't have like any idle time. Like I'm always trying to fill it with something. So like every summer or during the year, like I want to learn something new. Every summer I'll go coach somewhere new, or try to just build and develop myself. I just never want to get stagnant. And so in that same vein, I decided to get a master's degree in legal studies with a concentration in NCAA compliance and sports law.
Okay, so can we just? I'm going to put you on a pedestal here because that is fucking ridiculous. All right, you are. I have a hard time raising a couple kids and running a business. Here you are raising young women at college, right? Because that's what you're doing. You're like you're sort of like a parent to them. You're helping them. You're educating. You're coaching. And then in your spare time, you're getting something that people only focus on when they have one thing to focus on. I mean, that's intense. That had to be so much reading, so much late nights. I mean, how do you do it?
Yeah, I mean, it was a lot, and I think I attribute that kind of mindset to my mother. Whenever I would think of like doing something new, she would always say, "Time's going to pass anyway." What are you going to do with the time? It's going to pass anyway. You're going to be happy that you did it or wish that you did it.
So is the idea that you'll stop rowing, stop coaching, and you'll use that degree or no?
I don't know. It's always nice to have something in your back pocket, and if I get bored again, maybe I'll do something else. But having not gone to law school, I was like, okay, maybe I'll just like scratch the surface. I wanted to know that I could kind of do it. So.
And it was a 2-year program?
Yeah.
Was it through Drexel?
It was. Yeah. Through the
so
Drexel.
As a coach, you probably get, I mean, it probably helped you financially, right? Like it wasn't.
Oh yeah. Drexel has tuition permission. So, and it was like, why use the opportunity, right? Like when else am I going to get a master's degree essentially for free? So.
And you did it during the pandemic? Is that when you did it? The
second year of it, I ended up graduating during the pandemic. So I think May of 2020 is when I officially graduated.
Well, hats off to you. You are way smarter than me. I love that. That is awesome. Now, also in your bio, I know you did something really big this year, and it might have been your first time, but you coached the Junior Worlds team this year.
Yeah.
Why did you decide to go after that job? Right. Because you have to apply for it. There's a lot of hoops and things you got to jump through. Like why do that?
So like I said, I'm always trying to stay busy. And I actually looked back through my email this summer just to check. And I think I had been like applying for like dormitory positions, fill gas cans, like since 2015.
Wow.
Like since I started coaching collegiately, I was like, okay, how do I get involved in this system? How do I see how these women work? Their coaches are doing a lot of great things in other places. Let me see if I can get something from them, at camp. And it never happened, but if you don't try, you won't get it, so I just kept I just kept applying and reaching out, and even through that course, like doing coaching at Vesper at the U23 program, doing my level 2, doing my level 3 certifications, and I still don't know, and I haven't asked Casey why he decided to offer me the position, and I don't plan to. But when he called me and was like, yeah, we'd love to have you on staff for the summer, and I was just like, great, but then when he said world, I was just like, oh, do you know who's on the phone? Do you have the right person? And I was just so thrilled to be able to work with a world's boat. It was a great opportunity that I'm immensely thankful for.
Yeah, so I don't understand this sport. I've been doing this now for 23 years. And I don't know why people don't do this. Like you coached a crew to gold at Worlds. Like you were the coach to get them to jive together, to come together, to win a gold medal. And that didn't come out of your mouth. I'm the one saying that, hey, guess what? You won a gold medal. Like, is that just not the highlight of the summer for you? I mean, goodness gracious, you got your team to win a gold medal.
Yeah, the highlight was the experience overall too, right? Like, I think I was the only one on staff that had never competed on the junior team or had coached the junior team before. Like, again, I just wanted to feel like I belonged in the room. I wanted to try to grab what I could from everybody, and I just felt so empowered, by the opportunity, and the women that I worked with were just so high caliber, and I felt like really bought into the things that, we were trying to do as a junior system. And then, getting to the boat, the way that we prioritized everything, they just bought in, even if maybe I made some choice decisions that other people wouldn't have made to select that boat. I think it worked out.
Who was in the boat? Who were the 5 women in the boat?
Oh, awesome. In the stroke seat, I had Julia Veit. She was actually from White Marsh. She started with the Scullers, and then she was like an 04 birth year. So she got another opportunity to try out the sweep, and I was like, okay, let's see it. Philly bred. So she's got to be good. Jane Cox. I think she rode for, forget who she rode for, but she's at USC now. And she just, like, from day one of camp, like, she was like so gung-ho, like shouting during pieces, like lots of great energy. I was like, okay, probably have to have her somewhere, Imogen Cabot, she was 6'3", you couldn't miss her. Just great personality, great person. And then Quincy Stone and Bow out of Marin. And the thing we love about Quincy is, like, she had never raced before Worlds. And that was her first competition. So we made it like a little bit of a.
How's that
possible? So it ended up being like during the pandemic, like her time got cut short. So she just hadn't raced. And just if you met her and knew her, she's just a phenomenal athlete and just has like the right mindset. And she was awesome. She was awesome to throw in bow.
Who was the coxswain?
Victoria Greider. She was out of Oars, and now she's at Rutgers.
Yeah. I love it. The names, Quincy, Imogene, like Julia J. I love it. I love the Philly connection too. That's pretty badass. I won't lie. Like, and you're like, I'm going to throw in stroke seat. She's a tough cookie. She takes no shit from anybody. And it's like, she's like Rocky. She's like Rocky Balboa.
Literally, we're doing like seat racing for the 4. We've got 3 4s across. She's like, hold on, coach, my contact fell out. You know what? Actually, I'm good. I'll do it with one eye closed. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me.
how do you not know? You're like, I would say that moment, we're winning everything. We are not losing. We are not going to lose. This girl has no contacts. Who cares? We're winning.
Yeah.
What was your sort of, how did you get the team to glue together? Right. I've coached at a somewhat national level one time, and there's so many personalities. There's so many different styles of strokes, right? You had 4 women from 4 different styles of rowing, 4 different coaches, plus a coxswain. What did you do? What did you specifically do for that boat?
Well, as a group, we all wanted to be able to interchange the athletes pretty easily. So Mike, Gordon, and I were all on the same page about the stroke that we were looking for. And the things they heard me say the most probably are like, get your body set early, complete the stroke, fill the blade. Like I really try to keep it simple. And those are 3 things that they probably heard ad nauseum this summer. And I think that at camp we would do like test run 2Ks for the whole group. And I think the first time they did it, they were like 98% to gold medal standard. And after they heard that, they were like, oh, okay, let's go get it.
Wow. I mean, I have found some success in my career in rowing, but to be one of those 5 women, knowing you're that close to gold standard, that had to be the most intense, ego-driven, but also just fun experience of their lives. I mean, how often does something like that come together in our sport?
Yeah, I don't think it's really rare, for me, to find people that are coming from such different backgrounds and buying in so quickly. Like they only have so much time, right? And then to know that they have to rely on each other to get this standard, and then every day we're just trying to get 1% better. Like we're not trying to get gold today. We're trying to get gold when we go to Worlds. Let's just be a little bit better every single day and kind of stay level-headed. I think that eventually, like their excitement was off the wall, but I'm pretty stoic in my behaviors day to day, especially at practice. And then it kind of rubbed off on them. We made a joke of it. Like they were like so like even keel when we got there, like and they raced last, like racing's going, and they had the heat and the final, and they're the last boat to get on the water from the US. So they were just so hungry and ready to go.
So you've said it multiple times, you're like a sponge, and it's so obvious, like you're early 30s, and it's so obvious that you've picked up a lot of the good and the bad from coaches your entire career. Because it sounds like I'm talking to somebody who's been doing this for 20 years, not someone that's been doing this for 8 years, 9 years. So how did you get this job that you have now? Like how did that come to be?
I think that I really do think Paul, who's the director of rowing here, he's one, believed in me tremendously since I was an athlete, but also believed in my ability as a coach, and is always one to give people opportunities, and so when the former first assistant left and we were looking to hire someone else, I walked up to him and I was like, I want to coach the top 2 boats. I really want to work with them, and he's like, okay, like we'll see how things work out. And I always just want to run with an opportunity. And so he's really been great toward my career, and even from letting me go over to Worlds during the summer, like summer's all about recruiting,
Sure.
and trying to balance both hats and things. He's just been really helpful towards my growth. He's always asked me like, what do you want next, and always kind of helped me get there.
What does the title mean, associate head coach? Like because the associate means something. What does that mean?
I feel like it means a lot of things. For me, it always means like backing up Paul. Like no matter what we do, we're still a team, and we're gonna lead. If he's not around, I'm leadership. I do a lot of like the day-to-day ops. Like we don't have an ops director. I help delegate, the stuff among the men's and the women's staff. I help him make decisions, talking to fundraisers and things like that. So I've just got kind of every hat on at this point.
So Do you think that there's a chance that, I mean, with a world's gold, doing well at Drexel, like the opportunities are going to be coming. Do you, I mean, you're there now. I don't want to like, put any words in your mouth, but like, there's a very good chance that you could be going somewhere else. Like, do you have the aspirations of taking it elsewhere? Maybe like going to maybe larger programs, maybe more competitive NCAA programs, or are you just really happy where you are?
I think about it on both fronts for sure. I never want to say no to an opportunity, but I really do want to see these women get to NCAAs. So I'm really looking forward to this spring and seeing what we do there, and always ready to grow. But I do love it here while I'm here.
What advice do you have for the high school coaches, the young women, even young men out there that want to make coaching a career? Because you've taken your time, right? You had a couple of years at Oak Crest, then you moved into that you were at Bucknell and then Drexel. Like, what advice do you have for them? Who want to make this a career?
I think first is thinking that coaching can be a career, right? No one ever said to me, like, oh, you'd make a great coach, or, oh, like we need more female coaches in rowing. Like, no one ever said that. And it never crossed my mind, especially after going to school for 4 years and realizing, like, oh crap, I'm in love with something else, like you're a little scared to make that transition. But I think that I would tell them, like, you can be a coach, and all you really have to do is make the connections and put the time in. If you're willing to work for it, then you can get there.
Last question, because there's a wealth of knowledge here. I think this is incredible. Someone tells me you're a huge sports fan, like really, really big sports fan. Philadelphia Eagles, maybe the Phillies, like how big of a sports nut are you really? Because I need to hear it from you. Like, are you a diehard?
I mean, growing up in South Jersey, I am a diehard Philly sports fan, but I try to keep that under wraps. I definitely don't talk about them all day, but yeah, I definitely keep a pulse on everything that's going on. I've only not been to a Flyers game. I've been to everything else.
You haven't been to a Flyers game? That's surprising. I mean, that's very surprising that you would have not have been to one of those games.
Yeah, it's on the list. I'll get there.
So I think he's been on the team now for 3 weeks, maybe 2 weeks. James Harden, 76ers. I actually watched that game last night. I erg at night, and I popped the game on because it's the Knicks, right? It's the Knicks. It's 76ers.
Yeah.
James Harden, I think, is so perfect for that team. Do the 76ers have a shot? Do they have a shot this year?
Oh man, I mean, I feel like they do. It's like getting a new coach on staff or getting a transfer or something. Like, it gives you kind of juice, like people get excited to rally around that. And of course, who wouldn't be excited about James Harden? Top player, left-hand shooter, all that stuff. He's everyone want to see that, and Philly sports fans are going to be going crazy. So I would love to see them go.
I think they're third in the East right now. They've won 3 in a row. That game last night got me excited to watch 76ers basketball again. Like when you and I were growing up, it was Allen Iverson, and I would go like every third week up there to watch those guys play. And now they got Harden. I mean, this could be Philly year. Maybe this could be something big. Who knows? Yeah,
a lot of energy going towards it. I'm looking forward to it. We'll see.
Now, I had such a great time learning about you, and anyone who wants to learn more about Drexel rowing, we're going to have links everywhere for you to get in touch. I guess, is it safe to say that they go to you for recruiting, or are they going to go to Paul? Like, who's the point of contact for future rowers at Drexel?
I'm on the women's side. Paul does both sides. So, I mean, if you talk to Paul, you end up talking to me anyway. So
I love that family environment. I love that. I like that you hand it off to one another. Anyway, thank you for being here. I love learning about your career, and I can't wait to see what happens the next couple of years, because I have a feeling that you're going to be going back to Worlds again, and getting a gold medal for us in the future. Everyone tuning in, we are close to 100. I don't know, at some point, podcast this year. If you want to learn more about Drexel, we'll have links everywhere. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being